Welcome to Politics Unusual. I'm Morgan McKay. Governor Kathy Hochul racking up endorsements for her re-election bid this week as Democrats flock to Syracuse for the New York State Democratic Convention. So first up, we're bringing on one of Hochul's challengers this year, Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman, who's going to weigh in on how the race is shaping up. Next, some are saying environmental reviews are slowing down housing construction. We are taking a deep dive into proposed changes. And then we're checking in with New Jersey on some important issues facing the Garden State. But first, top Democrats rushing to endorse Governor Hochul this week, including Mayor Zohran Mamdani, Attorney General Letitia James, Congressman Jerry Nadler, and even Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, just to name a few. But the race is just starting to take shape. Joining me now is Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman, who's running as a Republican in the governor's race this year. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So I want to start first with the big news this week was that Hochul picked her running mate, former Council Speaker Adrienne Adams. What's your reaction?
Well, my reaction is that Adrienne Adams was the Speaker of the City Council when they built this terrible, terrible financial hole for New York City, $13 billion deficit this year. What was she thinking? I mean, this isn't fiscal management that keeps the taxpayers' wallets in mind. I think that basically it was a very poor choice for Governor Hochul. This is somebody who does not support law enforcement. As Speaker of the City Council, her budget cut $1 billion from the NYPD budget. So obviously she's not serious about affordability. She's not serious about good fiscal management. And she's not serious about security and safety of our neighborhoods in New York State.
Now, you're going to be picking your own choice for running mate here soon. Have you narrowed down the choices?
Yeah, I got like 6 or 7 really good people, and it's a tough choice because they all bring something to the table that's very important and very special. So I got a tough decision to make in the next 24 to 48 hours, and I have great choices. They will be head and shoulders above Adrienne Adams, I can assure you of that.
Are you going to be making the announcement before the Republican convention next week or at the convention?
Most likely either Monday morning or Tuesday morning.
Now, you launched your campaign for governor last year in December. Explain to our viewers why you're in this race.
Well, basically, as I travel around the state, people in New York State are miserable. They're miserable with Kathy Hochul's leadership. Under her lack of leadership, this has become the most expensive state to live in the United States. We have the highest taxes in America. People are moving out in droves. Businesses are moving out. I want to bring economic development, job prosperity back to New York so that people can have more money in their pockets. That makes it more affordable, and that gives people the choices that they need to make in order to be able not only to buy the necessities in life, but also to enjoy some of the simple luxuries like taking your family on vacation or buying your daughter a prom dress. They're not able to do it now because Kathy Hochul's been in charge for 4 years. She even admits that New York State is unaffordable, yet she's the one that's been in charge. What have you been doing for the last 4 years, Kathy? So the bottom line is we need a governor that's going to make people happy again by putting New Yorkers first, not spending $5 billion on illegal migrants. That's your taxpayer money. She's been spending that on people who've been here for 15 minutes and haven't earned a thing. That's money that could have been used to cut taxes. That money could have been used for hospitals, for schools, for infrastructure. She just basically gave away $5 billion to illegal migrants. I think that's wrong. I think New Yorkers want a governor that cares about them and that will put them first and make people happy again. That's all I want to do.
Hochul is up in Syracuse for the Democratic Convention. State Democrats are introducing a resolution to formally condemn ICE as a party. What's your response?
Well, first of all, ICE is not the problem. The problem is in Minneapolis, where this is a very isolated incident. You have a governor there and a mayor of Minneapolis who have told people to resist. They've thrown bottles and rocks at federal law enforcement officers. They've created a toxic environment, an inflammatory environment. Here in Nassau County, I have a comprehensive agreement with ICE. They don't raid schools. They don't raid churches. They don't raid daycare centers. All they're doing is getting criminals off the street. Since our agreement with ICE, we've gotten 2,000 criminals off the streets of Nassau County. And by the way, the whole metropolitan area. We made the whole metropolitan area safer by working with ICE. But at the same time, we need a comprehensive immigration policy. I'm in favor of a guest worker program for people who've been here for a long time and they have families here and they're law-abiding and they're gainfully employed. I don't want to rip those people out of their communities and send them back to the countries they came from. We have to have a program that allows for people who've been law-abiding, earning money, and good people in our communities to stay here. So I'm going to forcefully push that agenda as well.
And for our viewers, this agreement that Nassau County entered into with ICE allows local law enforcement to be deputized by ICE, and they assist with civil immigration enforcement. Governor Kathy Hochul is proposing to block localities from entering such an agreement. You were one of the few, around 10 localities that have such an agreement. Did you feel like this was a direct shot at you, and do you feel like you're going to challenge this in court if it does pass?
No, this is just another example of Kathy Hochul being the most pro-criminal governor in the United States of America. Think about it. She does nothing for the victims. She does nothing to keep us safer. Cashless bail is a disaster. People are committing crime after crime after crime. They know there's no consequences. It's made people less safe in their communities. So I'm not surprised. She doesn't want to get criminals off the street. She's someone who is constantly talking about making life better for criminals. I'm worried about victims. I'm worried about the safety of our communities. And I think that's the kind of governor that people want, the governor that is soft on crime.
But Hochul argues that local law enforcement does help when it comes to dangerous criminals that ICE is seeking. Do you think that, as she said, local police should focus on local crime? Do you think that it is stretching local police resources too thin if they are helping out with ICE? Why not leave that to ICE?
Well, you know what? That's a very good question. I think it's safer for ICE to operate with local law enforcement officers who know the territory, who know the communities. They can definitely give ICE the ability to have their knowledge and their experience in those communities. And they have relationships with the community, which I think are very important. So it keeps everybody safer to do that. And in addition to that, I think that basically, if you asked a business owner who's had the same person shoplift them 7 times without any consequences and they're a legal migrant, I think that person, even though it's not a violent crime, they want them out of their communities. I'm hearing from shop owners that they've had enough of the shoplifting. It's so costly that a lot of them are closing their doors. I want to support small business. So Kathy Hochul is completely wrong-headed on this. She's got the wrong choice for lieutenant governor. She's got the wrong priorities and values. I want to make it more affordable in New York State. I want to make it safer. I want to make people happier. So I'm the guy that can do that. So I'm very confident that I'll be the next governor.
If elected, would you ask President Donald Trump to increase ICE's presence here in New York?
Well, we don't need any increase in New York because it's gone very, very well so far. Our program is working exceedingly well. We haven't had any incidents. So I think we got to stop talking about ICE and start talking about a guest worker program and a very comprehensive guest worker program and talk about immigration as a whole and not just focus on ICE. And I also think we've got to focus on affordability here. Does it make sense for us to spend $5 billion on people that have been here for 15 minutes and haven't earned a thing? It's taxpayer dollars that could be used for them. I want to spend the money on the citizens of New York State and make their life better.
You've been a very vocal opponent against Mayor Zoran Mamdani. What would you say if elected? How would you work with him as mayor? Would you want to work with him on his child care plan, for example?
Well, his child care plan is just for New York City. It's not for the rest of the state. I'm very surprised that Governor Hochul, well, I shouldn't be surprised, but Governor Hochul has agreed to a child care program just for New York City. What about the rest of the state? And by the way, I'm in favor of a child care program, but not the way he wants to do it. to his buddies who run child care centers or handing out to his political contributors and his political supporters. I would put the money back in the hands of the people. If you're working and you need child care for your children, I would give you a tax credit for that. And then that would put money back in your pocket, and you can choose which child care center you want to send your kids to, not the city.
And last for you, a Siena College poll this week has Hochul leading with 54%. You're polling at about 28%. What's going to be your strategy to make up that gap? I know you're headed to Rochester today, touring the state. What else are you going to be doing?
Yes, I'm heading to Rochester. I've been all over the state. We're raising money. We're organizing. The momentum behind my campaign is amazing. Nobody believes the Siena poll. Siena poll is always way off. It's a Democratic poll, so we don't worry about that. And by the way, why did they do the poll before the convention? Obviously, to try and skew it. So I'm not concerned with the Siena poll. Siena poll has had me way down in every election that I've won, so I'm not concerned with it at all.
Well, thank you so much, County Executive, for your time. We'll definitely have you back on as the race progresses. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Coming up next, environmental reviews can sometimes stall projects for years here in New York. We're sitting down with two guests who will explain how the process can be reformed next. Welcome back to Politics Unusual. In her 2026 State of the State address, Governor Kathy Hochul announced her goal to reform the State Environmental Quality Review Act. Now, before your eyes glaze over, this process has a huge impact on housing projects and even utility costs here in the state. Joining us now to explain is Kate Slevin, the Executive Vice President at the Regional Plan Association, and Anne Marie Gray, the Executive Director for Open New York. Thank you both for being here. Now, I want to start. So the governor said the State Environmental Quality Review Act hasn't been updated in over 50 years, and it's having a major impact on the state's ability to build more housing. Anne Marie, let's start with you.
Yeah, so New Yorkers are struggling with soaring housing costs. We've seen a clear mandate that New Yorkers want their government to do everything possible to bring down housing costs. Right now, every housing project is required to go through something called SEQR, the State Environmental Quality Review Act. And this was developed 50 years ago when we needed tools to stop toxic power plants and highways going through neighborhoods. But right now, it often gets used sometimes only by one person who doesn't want a project for reasons that actually have nothing to do with our housing and climate goals. And it can stall housing projects for years and years and years, and that drives up costs for everyone.
Now, Hochul's proposing a whole list of reforms, including maybe the big one, which is establishing clear deadlines for when these environmental reviews have to be completed. Kate, how long have some of these projects lasted for being held up by the environmental review process?
I mean, sometimes years. And on average, this SEQR increases timelines by about 2 years. So this is really going to just cut red tape, speed projects that make sense for the communities, for the environment, to go through the process faster.
Now, Hochul's also proposing exempting certain projects from the environmental review process, such as mixed housing projects up to 500 units here in the 5 boroughs, also parks, recreation projects, childcare facilities. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so it's really important to remember building infill housing in an area where you have access to transit, you can walk more, you don't have to rely on a car all the time. All of this is climate action, right? This is exactly what we need to decrease our emissions and to improve livability and affordability for New York. So we need to do everything possible to make these projects easier. And sometimes that's actually the types of projects that get held up right now. So this is really, really sensible reforms to make sure that we're bringing down housing costs. And we're just making sure really smart, climate-friendly projects can move forward.
Now, some environmental groups have said that that's too wide of a list to exempt from these environmental reviews. What's been your response?
Well, Regional Plan Association is a multi-issue organization. We cover housing, transportation, and the environment. So we've looked at it from an environmental lens, and I think the best thing you can do to improve environmental quality, bring down greenhouse gas emissions, and protect open space is to encourage development in the right places. And those places are walkable downtowns, previously disturbed lands, parking lots, areas near transit, right? And that's exactly what this proposal does. It also fast tracks things that could be potentially very good for addressing climate change, small scale resiliency projects, for example. So we see benefits there as well.
And like you just mentioned, infrastructure when it comes to clean energy, those could all help impact utility costs as well, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Anything we can do to encourage clean energy and alternative energy is very, very good to bring energy costs down, whether that be solar panels or the longer term offshore wind. All of that really affects our ability to ensure that New Yorkers have affordable electricity.
Now, some environmental groups are also saying that they're worried that this could maybe erode protections of the state's natural resources. What's been your guys' response to that?
Yeah, so we are part of we launched a broad coalition of over 30 groups, includes environmental groups, business groups, and also have done some polling that's showing that 3 out of 4 New Yorkers really support sensible reforms like this. And again, these policies are really carefully designed to target infill housing. We're talking about previously developed land. We're talking about an old parking lot, right? We're not talking about new development in greenfields. So again, this is really trying to speed up exactly the type of climate-friendly projects that we need to see.
Yeah, and our PA has the same mission as many of those environmental groups, which is to reduce sprawl and ensure that our air quality is good and there's open space is protected. So we work very closely with many of those organizations, but we support this proposal because we think it'll actually be beneficial for the environment.
Now, one of the proposals also, Hochul wants to modernize the permitting process. It's been decades since this has happened. What's your guys' conversations like with state lawmakers? They have to approve this in the state budget this year. It's going to be up for debate. Do you feel like there is an appetite right now to get this done?
Absolutely. So a version of this bill has actually been floating around in the Senate and passed in the Senate last year. And then now the governor has put out her own proposal that is very, very similar. So it's exactly the time and it's a really, really important year. Finally, we're seeing some real momentum with multiple houses and multiple sides of government to really finally pass something.
Yeah, affordability, right? And I think New Yorkers want predictability. They want to cut red tape. They want the government to work better for them. And keeping in place old processes that are out of date doesn't make any sense. So these reforms make a ton of sense. They're simple, and there seems to be a lot of interest from the state legislature in having those conversations and advancing something this session. So we're hopeful.
Perfect. I'm excited to watch. Thank you both so much for being here. I really appreciate your time. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Coming up next, New Jersey electricity rates leaving many residents shocked. Next, we're taking the pulse of the people. If there's one thing most Garden State residents can agree on, it's the skyrocketing cost of electricity. So on her first day in office, Governor Mikey Sherrill signed 2 executive orders freezing electricity rate hikes to residents and declaring a state of emergency to create and expand programs aimed at developing new power resources. It comes as electric bills spiked as much as 20% last summer and could rise again this year. We asked New Jerseyans if they are satisfied with the moves.
Hopefully there is a plan because it's really kicking our butts. It's too expensive and it's not fair to us.
It sounds like a good idea so far on paper, Execution's a different thing, but I guess we'll have to see. But it sounds like a good idea.
Well, I'm happy about that. I mean, how high can they go? There's got to be capped sometime. But can it be lowered? Or is it going to stay there?
That'd be great, Yeah, I like that, If they put a cap on the price tag,
Until we see results, though, let's see what happens.
Next up, we're going to test your knowledge of the tri-state region, so stay with us. We're flashing back to this week in history. On February 2nd, 1653, New Amsterdam, which would later be named New York City, was officially incorporated as a city. New Amsterdam was a Dutch colony and became the first city in North America. At the time, Governor Peter Stuyvesant led a parade down Broadway to celebrate. Finally, tonight we're testing your knowledge. Last week we asked you, Edgar Allan Poe wrote what famous poem while living in New York City? The answer, The Raven. The poem was first published with Poe's name on January 29, 1845, in the New York Evening Mirror. Poe wrote the poem while living in a farmhouse on West 84th Street and Broadway. Now, to this week's question. The first time a road was paved with asphalt in the U.S. was in 1870, but which city had its road paved first? A hint, It's in New Jersey. Now, don't Google the answer, but if you want to take a shot at it, go ahead, scan that code on your screen. That's going to take you to our website, fox5ny.com, where you can check back here next week to see if you're right. That does it for this episode of Politics Unusual. If you missed any part of this show or you just want to check it out again, we are now on Spotify and any other platform you listen to podcasts on. Be sure to follow us. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Morgan McKay. Have a safe weekend. We'll see you next week.